It's one of those defining games. It's the kind you circle on the schedule before the season even begins. It's David Robinson, it's Patrick Ewing, it's the Spurs and the New York Knicks. 45,000 people coming to the Garden today. 3 editions of the Christmas Carol, the tribute to Itzhak Rabin here earlier today, and now another celebration. 1963. Bob Goldwater manning the microphones today. He's introducing the Hertz starting lineups.
At guard, 6'4" from North Carolina State, number 15, Vinny Del Negro. At forward, 6'8" from Arizona, number 32, Sean Elliott. At forward, 6'10" from Houston, number 33, Greg Anderson. And at center, 7'1" from Navy, number 50, David Robinson. The trainer is John Anderson. The assistant coaches, Hank Egan, Dave Cowens, and Paul Pressey. And the head coach of the Spurs, Bob Hill. Brad Lohaus will not play tonight due to illness. At guard, 6'5" from Oklahoma State, number 3, John Starks. At guard, 6'4" from Illinois, number 11, Tri-Captain Derek Harper. At forward, 6'7" from Tennessee State, number 14, Anthony Mason. At forward, 6'9" from Virginia Union, number 34, Tri-Captain Charles Oakley. And at center, 7 feet from Georgetown, number 33, Tri-Captain Patrick Ewing. The trainer is Mike Saunders. The assistant trainer is Tim Walsh. The assistant coaches are Jeff Van Gundy, Don Chaney, Bob Salmi, and Jeff Nix. And the head coach of the Knicks, Don Nelson.
And Don had a great game last night as well. Team down by 10, calling the timeout, inserting Charlie Ward. He helped slow down Spud Webb. Ward hits a three-pointer, and that's the fuse that lit the Knicks turnaround and comeback at the Omni. Now tonight, the focus, of course, is Patrick Ewing versus David Robinson. Robinson defending his MVP crown, putting up similar numbers that won him the award a year ago. This week, John, averaging better than 30 points a game. How's he comparing with Patrick Ewing? That's the story.
Well, when you look at their 11 career meetings, Al, you can see the scoring's pretty much the same. A slight edge to Robinson. Also in the field goal percentage department, Ewing has the edge in rebounds. And Robinson has an edge with 6 wins with his Spurs over Patrick Ewing's Knicks. Pretty tight, but both players come in rolling and feeling very good about themselves and their respective teams.
Knicks have won 3 straight games and 6 of their last 7 against the Spurs here at the Garden. Last year they split the 2 games. Spurs winning big at the Alamo Dome. The Knicks winning a close one here at Madison Square Garden. They won't meet again till March. Robinson checks in with Patrick Ewing. It's Sean Elliott with Vinny Del Negro. Greg Cadillac Anderson along with Robinson, of course, and Avery Johnson. The replacement officials, they'll be gone by this week. Doug Rogan, Bruce Bell, Jason Phillips. Patrick Ewing and David Robinson about to begin this early Sunday night meeting at Madison Square Garden. The tip to the Knicks. Harper guarded by Avery Johnson. Ewing picks up right where he left off.
Yes, David Robinson didn't come out and challenge Patrick.
Vinny Del Negro, born in the city of Springfield, Massachusetts, and when that happens, you're almost destined to be a hoop player. Sean Elliott hits the 3. He's been hitting better than 40% from beyond the stripe this season. Knicks go again to Ewing. Cross floor, Oakley. David Robinson grabs the rebound.
You notice, Al, how the Spurs sent a double team from Oakley's man. No one else, feeling that if Oakley gets the open shot, they'd rather him be the man to take it than anyone else. So that's their version of high percentage defense.
Robinson whips it out for Johnson. He's got tremendous speed. First step in on Starks. Goaltending, Patrick Ewing. Harper to Ewing, who reaches for it. Looked a little uncomfortable on the release and came up short.
Patrick didn't go straight for the basket as he should have, and Harper threw it where Patrick should have been.
This is Sean Elliott. Mason grabs the rebound. Anthony Mason with yet another double-double last night at the Omni. They go right at Robinson again. Ewing, all that, thought he was fouled, but doesn't make a big deal out of it. You know, John, in talking about the San Antonio Spurs, you really have to talk about rebounding in the absence of Dennis Rodman. Steal by Harper, lofts it for Starks. Del Negro won't challenge.
Yes, Al, that is a very, very apparent weakness to the Spurs game. In 16 games this year, believe it or not, they have been out-rebounded 15 times.
Del Negro for two. Foot on the line. They've tried three different power forwards. They've gone with J.R. Reed. They've tried Carl Herrera, the free agent from the Houston Rockets. And right now it's Greg Anderson. Mason bothered by Anderson. Goes to the basket. Kicks it for Ewing. Now Harper. Derek way off. He's been struggling last two games, shooting only 32% from the floor.
Speaking of struggling, Vinny Del Negro, the man with the ball right now, very important piece to this team's success. He has not been shooting the ball well, and Bob Hill is dying for him to recapture the touch.
He's a streaky shooter, John. Ex-Knick coach Bob Hill looking sharp as always. Robinson, oh, the fake. Oh, it hit hard by Oakley. Robinson didn't even look at Oakley, and he was hit hard.
Robinson is not a trash talker, and he's a very strong guy. He got rocked by Charles. That's a classic NBA drive down the middle. You know it's going to happen once in a while play. But Robinson, looking at that physique, Al, we know he can take anything Charles can dish out. And Charles also must have felt the body of the strength of Robinson also.
Jordan and Karl Malone both with huge nights last night. And David Robinson currently fourth in the NBA in scoring. So it's 8-6 San Antonio. Oakley tries the give and go. Ewing tried to complete it. Now they do get it to Oakley. Bounce pass Mason. And the game is tied. A lot of
Isolation now by the Spurs for Sean Elliott, who demonstrates his ability to put the ball on the floor.
Good defense by the Knicks. Starks in traffic and in trouble, saved by Harper. Harper's got it measured, and the Knicks are in front by a basket. Avery Johnson, thought by many to be a very talented point guard, but not one you could win an NBA championship with. But he just continues to get a little better every season. Not looking too good on that shot. Anderson with the rebound save.
Avery Johnson currently is third in the NBA in assists at over 8 a game.
He had 13 3 games ago. Del Negro. Line drive is off. Oakley tries to go long distance, and it's saved nicely by Avery Johnson on the interception. Crowd a little flat here at the Garden. As John will tell you, many early evening and matinee games start out that way. Del Negro gets the bounce.
Yes, the Sunday crowd has a different personality, Al, as we've often discussed, than the midweek crowd.
Charles Oakley left wide open, now runs into some contact. Harper He's really challenged by Avery Johnson. For him to win that sprint to the ball shows you something about Derek's conditioning. Greg Anderson lost it out of bounds on the UN miss. 6:55 to go here at the Garden. We've got our first timeout. This game is tied at 10.
Back at the Garden with Jesse James Leha, who will be fighting Oscar De La Hoya Friday night right over there. Now, you're not afraid of this guy at all, are you?
Oh, not at all. Hey, no fear.
No fear. All right. Now, what's the strategy going in? You got to go up in weight class. First time you've done that.
Yeah, but I've always had trouble making 130 pounds, and now I feel more comfortable making 135. I think I'm a better 135-pound fighter.
You've only lost one fight in your career. Oscar De La Hoya, of course, is a great champion. What do you expect from him?
I expect a tough fight. I mean, I have all the odds against me, but that's what makes me work a lot harder and gives me more determination to win this fight. And I've had 18 weeks of good training, and I think I'm ready more than ever for this fight.
Now, a guy like him and his record, that can't intimidate you, can it?
Oh, not at all. I fought better fighters, and Oscar De La Hoya is a great fighter, but I fought better fighters as far as Zuma Nelson, the legend, and I beat him. So, I mean, that's not a big deal to me.
Your favorite basketball team is?
San Antonio Spurs.
That's right. He's from San Antonio. Jesse James Leha. He'll be fighting Friday night against Oscar De La Hoya. Boxing returns to the Mecca, and we return to Al Trotway.
And Jesse James hopes the Garden is not his Alamo. 1 minute deep into the second quarter. The Spurs leading by 3. Doc Rivers trying to stay with Derek Harper. 7 on the 24. Knicks with 4 more passes. It goes to Herb Williams. It's a Sean Elliott rebound. Doc Rivers talked to him before the game. John, I said, oh, how's it going? He said, well, we're playing badly. We're not playing well. We're winning games, but we're not playing well. We can't rebound.
Doc Rivers always gets right to the heart of the matter, and that's what's been concerning Bob Hill. They're rebounding, being out-rebounded, as we said, 15 out of 16 games.
By the way, this Friday, the De La Hoya Leha fight here at Madison Square Garden. Ticketmaster, the Garden box office, 212-307-7171. Sean Elliott shooting a free throw. The Knicks called for their second illegal defense. He clangs it, so the score remains the same. Hubert Davis shooting 77% his last 3 games. That is a complete turnaround from the mini slump he was in. John Starks leaves. Starks with 5 points, 3 rebounds, hitting the boards. And Davis will guard Doc Rivers. Chuck Person in the game for the San Antonio Spurs. That was a wild hook shot from near half court he hit to close out the first quarter. You've probably hit, what, like 500 of those in your career, right, John?
Maybe a little short of that, Al.
Knicks with the steal. J.R. Reed grabs it back. I bet you practiced it a lot.
Oh, more than any other shot.
Herb Williams can't block Will Perdue.
You know, we also have to point out how that was a 3-point play by Chuck Person, who's number 5, by the way, in 3-point makes in NBA history.
Hubert Davis ends the San Antonio Spurs 7-0 run. Spurs 32, Knicks 29. Well, we can talk about the San Antonio Spurs lack of rebounding all we want. Right now it's 13-9 in favor of San Antonio. Rivers, a lot of talking on the floor. 6 on the 24. Chuck Person. He hits the hook from half court, but he can't hit from 10. Mason gives a look to J.R. Reed.
Yes, disdainful.
Yeah, like a yeah, right. Mason with Will Perdue fronting him. Goes right at him. Right at him.
Will Perdue is a 7-footer, but he shrank on that one.
Another miss by Chuck Person. Knicks push it up the floor. Davis has Harper on the left wing. Spots him and finds him. Elliott grabs the miss of the 3. We've got a loose ball foul. Charles Oakley is called, and he's pleading his case. The Spurs need someone to take it out of bounds. It'll be J.R. Reed. Oakley's second foul.
Key matchup here is Derek Harper down low guarding the much taller Chuck Person.
So the matchups are Oakley versus J.R. Reed, Harper on Person, as you said, Purdue with Herb Williams, Davis and Doc Rivers, Mason on Sean Elliott. I mean, the more obvious thing would be to put Mason on Person and Harper on Elliott, but Don Nelson sticking with this. Air ball by Doc Rivers. Harper got Elliott back, goes right past him. Derek Harper gives the Knicks the lead, 33-32.
Now the thinking on that is that Mason can be physical with Sean Elliott. A high-scoring forward.
Two backup centers. Will Purdue gets a bounce and the foul. The three-time winner of the World Championship in his days with the Chicago Bulls.
Will Purdue, a 7-footer with a very awkward shot, but the touch made it work.
Johnny's got the biggest feet in the NBA, size 21, not AAA, 5A. I don't even know what that looks like.
I know, it goes on and on and on.
Needless to say, you're not walking into your nearby athletic store and grabbing a pair of 21 5As. J.R. Reed commits his third personal foul. There they are. Boats. What size are you, Johnny Hoops?
I'll wear a 15 sneaker out.
That is large in and of itself. Davis guarded by Elliott. Of course, the standard is Bob Lanier's 22. Mason comes up short on the running hook. Purdue hustles to the rebound. Avery Johnson with the baseline save. Johnson looks over the floor. They work it to Elliott for a three that's way off. All Knicks on the rebound. 2-on-2. Harper right through. Again, what great spin on that. Two great drives to the basket by Derek Harper in the last minute. 7:20 to go. Knicks by 1. It's been close throughout. Robinson and Ewing back on. Avery Johnson can't get it to work. Purdue can't find it. Neither can Robinson. It's an Oakley rebound out to Mason. Looked like he had to stick him on his fingertips to grab that pass.
Hubert Davis wanted it bad in the corner, but Mason wanted to do it all by himself.
6:59 to go. Knicks 35, Spurs 34.
Despite David Robinson outscoring Patrick Ewing 14-9 in the first half, the Knicks have a 6-point lead at 55-49. And moments ago, Anthony Mason awarded the Sharp Electronics Sharpshooter of the Month by David Hall, the regional sales manager for Sharp Electronics. Mace, 14 points, 5 assists, and 6th best in the NBA, 58% from the field during the month of November. The Sharp Electronics Sharpshooter of the Month. And in the first half, he's kept the pace, shooting 3 of 5, 8 points, adding 8 rebounds. And we're set for second half action. Let's go to Al Troutwig and John Andres.
Okay, Mike, we'll check in on the matchup of the night, though they didn't always defend each other, Ewing and Robinson, John.
Yes, our Toyota matchup has Robinson with an edge in the scoring and rebounding department. Robinson, although seemed to get those points and rebounds rather easily, doesn't seem to really be working very hard. But a lot of that too is the way that he plays. He just makes things look easy, I guess.
Underway in the second half, Avery Johnson, the point guard for the San Antonio Spurs. Knicks showing great balance with 7 players who have scored, each with at least 5 points. Here's Robinson, up strong, around, much too hard off the glass. Ewing with a good job defensively to alter the shot. Derek Harper, slow, deliberate to Mason, way out. They post up Harper, who throws it through traffic to Ewing. And now Oakley, 7 on the 24. Starks beaten to the rebound by Vinny Del Negro.
Del Negro had a good first half foul, 5 out of 11 from the field, a little better than lately.
Del Negro left wide open on the defensive switch, and he's too good of a shooter to leave that wide open. So we'll set up the matchups. It's John Starks guarded by Del Negro. Robinson versus Ewing here. Elliott on Oakley. Johnson and Harper. And Greg Anderson, who was no factor really in the first half, guarded by Anthony Mason. Oakley tried to save it on the baseline and was not able to. Patrick Ewing yelling at one of the officials, "Can I get a call?" And he's really giving it to him. Really letting them have it. Now they're saying jump ball. Now they're saying jump ball. Bob Hill less than pleased. Well, this will all go away. Well, not the arguments, but this will all go away in just a couple of days, guys.
Yes, on Tuesday, the officials that the NBA players and fans have gotten to know over the years will return to action. Ewing petitioning a call in his favor as Charles Oakley slapped that ball back on the court. Patrick did not get the call. And in the ensuing disagreements here, it looks like we're going to have a jump ball as the settlement.
Yeah, and who jumps? It's going to be, I think, Oakley and Anderson. You know, the guys, players, managers, coaches, everybody, no one's got respect for these replacement officials. Haven't since the moment they stepped on the floor. And as a result, they're easy targets. And it certainly looked as though that was an obvious put out of bounds by Charles Oakley, at least on the replay I saw. David Robinson hit by Oakley.
Because Robinson is so adept at putting the ball on the floor, he draws fouls. Subject we were talking about at the end of the first half. And he was converged upon as he drove to the basket.
Now there's more confusion. One official saying we're taking it out of bounds, and it's not a shooting foul. It's getting a little weird, folks.
As far as Robinson was concerned, he was in the act of shooting, but it was not called in his favor.
Spurs on a 6-0 run. You remember those 4 quick points they got in the final seconds of the second quarter to cut a 10-point Knick lead to 6. Robinson outside Del Negro hits the 3, and it's a 9-0 run and a 1-point ball game.
Del Negro now 7 of 13 from the field.
See what the Knicks' response is now. Derek Harper well short. Gets the look to Ewing. Out of bounds. Spurs very grouchy at this point. Out of bounds in favor of the Knicks, and it was all San Antonio on the rebound. Mason will inbound. Just under 10 minutes left in the third quarter. John Starks goes flying. Ewing left open on the perimeter by Robinson.
John holding the right thigh.
Patrick lost it on the dribble. Avery Johnson. Del Negro again. Ewing with a big rebound over Greg Anderson. And more yakking at the officials by Patrick Ewing, who took a shot to the face. Spurs 11-5, Knicks 14-5. Mason double teamed and foul. Bob Hill didn't like that call.
You don't see opponents slapping the ball out of Mason's hands, even if they hit him in the arm. He is just so strong.
John, he holds the ball so tightly, you probably think he's got little dimples on his fingertips when it lets it go. Knicks have missed all 4 of their shots here in the third quarter. You know, for all the expectations, and you really do look forward to Spurs, Knicks, Ewing, Robinson, this game has not lived up to it at all. It's got little rhythm. Here's Robinson on the pick. Robinson coming up big. Ewing lets him go. A huge dunk by David Robinson. And you watch him execute a play like that, and you think he could play any position, from point to the center position that he plays.
Stealing the ball is one of his great attributes as well.
Ewing lost the rebound out of bounds. Well, Patrick Ewing is very, very focused now on the officials.
Meanwhile, the Knicks have gone flat.
It's an 11-0 run. The Spurs have taken the lead. Robinson goes inside under Ewing. And Don Nelson doesn't like what he's seeing and wants to halt the Spurs attack on the Knicks. Timeout. With 8:33 to go in the third, it's the Spurs 58, the Knicks 55.
Avery Johnson, all left, all left. There he goes. He fakes right slightly, and an off-balance shot off the backboard goes in.
He's got some fine juking moves.
Bob Hill loves this guy's toughness. 5'11". He is the leader of this team in the backcourt.
You know, the old basketball camp rule, John, as I'm sure you've taught many young players, is just keep your eyes on his belly button. He can't go anywhere without that part of his body, but I think
right.
Avery Johnson's belly button moves when he makes those plays. Foul is on Avery Johnson, his second, and the Knicks will inbound. Starks spinning. Ewing is open. Patrick Ewing. He's stepping it up a bit and starting to get much more involved offensively.
Well, Starks made it happen with the penetration.
Sean Elliott, oh, he hung up in the air for a long time. Ewing was up for the block, and he just stayed up there. Game's getting a lot more intriguing at this point. Mason. They call the jump ball. That ball didn't stop.
Well, that's a soft touch.
That ball should have been allowed to come down. Well, it was stationary at the base of the rim. Looked like it was going to stay there. Would have been fun. It'll be a center jump.
I would have had to have gone out and boosted you up to get the ball down, Al.
I think David could have handled it. But I would have needed a boost, yes. Harper hit hard, and he'll go to the line for a couple. J.R. Reed is called for a foul. And J.R. Reed is called for number 4. Derek Harper and Avery Johnson do have something in common, don't they, John?
Yes, very interesting. For 8 successive years, Derek Harper's scoring average got better and better each year. And Avery Johnson is on the up and up, as you can see. Every year, it has gotten better for him, including this year. So they do have something in common in that regard. It's a unique statistic when you think about it.
Of course, when you start off scoring 1.6 a game, you leave yourself a lot of room for improvement.
I'm sure that was not part of his master plan.
After a great first half from the line, the Knicks have missed their last 4. Spurs by 4. Vinny Del Negro. Over John Starks. Spurs back by 6. Starks protects the ball all the way. Too hard. Del Negro with the fake. Johnson wide open. Well, that was more in than out, and out it came.
Ron Nelson liking the 3-guard approach here again, as he did last night in the 4th quarter in Atlanta. It worked out well. He got a tempo change, which the Knicks are seeing now. The tempo of this game has really picked up.
Mason is fouled by Sean Elliott.
San Antonio foul charge on Sean Elliott. That's his 3rd personal foul.
3rd personal foul. So fouls are starting to become a bit of a problem for San Antonio. Anthony Mason last night went over the 10,000 career minute mark. He's been averaging 44 minutes a game, and the Knicks have now missed 5 straight from the free throw line.
There's Anthony, the subject of an extended article today in the New York Times, talking about his arrival into the real big time now at that 44-minute per game average, and how fatigue is not part of his life.
Gary Grant getting set to check in. 3:20 to go in the 3rd. David Robinson facing the basket to Elliott. Down to the baseline. Beautiful stop by Hubert Davis. Starks looks to Ewing. Very active. Patrick Ewing's energy is up there. 15 points, 6 rebounds for Ewing. Knicks within 3. Ewing tapped it over the rim. Robinson follows. Ewing went for the block, but we've got a foul. If it's on Ewing, it's his 4th. We'll find out in a moment. 2:57 to go in the 3rd.
Note that game on Tuesdays, an 8 o'clock start. Our MCS Cannon game night will be at 7:30 on Tuesday night.
The foul was not on Ewing. It was on Anthony Mason, his 2nd. David Robinson hits both free throws, and it's 72-67. Spurs by 5. John Starks races by Sean Elliott. Sees Ewing. Huge! Ooh. Just once. Gotta feel so good. 2:40 to go. Knicks by 3. Knicks within 3. Elliott stopped on the baseline, turned back. Robinson in the lane. Didn't get the spin, but got the foul call. You could tell Ewing was going up with as much authority as he can muster.
Well, John Starks makes it happen, pushing that ball up court, demanding the attention, and then giving it up to Patrick Ewing for the finish.
David Robinson now has 11 points in the quarter. He has really been a force with 25, right near his average, and 9 rebounds.
In addition to the MVP title he won last year, David was also a member of the first team all-defensive NBA team.
He was the first player in San Antonio Spurs history to win the MVP award. Of course, the Spurs team has ABA roots. Gary Grant's checked in, wide open. Gary Grant, a solid game, 9 points. Avery Johnson, Knicks down by 2. Here's Sean Elliott guarded by Starks. He's got the forearm pressed to his back. Oakley helps out. The reset puts the ball in David Robinson's hands. Off the back of the rim, the back tap to the Admiral for J.R. Reed. Avery Johnson, 1:40 to go in the 3rd. It's been a much more fun 3rd quarter than anything we saw in the 1st half. Good ball movement by San Antonio, and Sean Elliott hits the 3. It gives the Spurs a 5-point cushion.
Excellent movement, as you point out, Al, and you really can't complain that much about the Knicks defense. Starks was helping out, but he got there. Just couldn't stop Elliott.
John Starks will it count. Oh, they say no basket. They don't give Starks the continuation. Fans are booing, and they may be right, but it'll be 2 shots for John Starks. 4th foul on Sean Elliott, and that gets Chuck Person off the Spurs bench. If you look at Chuck Person, the San Antonio Spurs had a weird thing happen to them early in the season. Their charter flight took off, and the seats that held Dell Demps and Chuck Person completely came off track and slid back. Chuck Person wound up with a herniated disc, and Dell Demps was slightly injured too. They both were taken to the hospital. I mean, can you imagine? They didn't fasten the seats down.
When you hear herniated disc, you assume that's it for the guy's career for a period of time. He's lucky to come back, and Chuck Person bounced back pretty quickly.
1:09 to go. Robinson, quick look. Johnson, nice stop by Starks. Out comes Gary Grant. Oh, he almost turned the ball over. Ewing faces the basket. Robinson, just let him take the shot.
He's done that all night. He is not pursuing Patrick's jump shooting.
Avery Johnson pulls up. This time the Spurs don't pass the ball around, and Johnson just lets it go. Avery Johnson has 11 points. Hubert Davis through traffic for Ewing. He's missed 2 in a row from the baseline. Oakley steals. Starks has Ewing wide open. Gary Grant's got it. Oh, he shovels it up. Gary Grant with 11 points.
Ron Nelson continuing through the 3rd quarter with the 3-guard approach.
Now the Spurs have been dynamite in the last couple of seconds of both quarters so far. Let's see what little magic they've got in store for us here. They're going to play it for that last shot. Johnson going at Gary Grant. He's a solid defender. What's the call? Traveling. Traveling is the call. So if there's last second magic, maybe it'll be from the Knicks with 3.8 to go. Derek Harper gets the call to enter the game. So does Doc Rivers. Coaches will play these final 3 seconds for all it's worth. Oakley will inbound. Davis dribbling on the bigger Chuck Person. He's blocked from behind, and the Knicks get nothing. So we've played 3 quarters here at Madison Square Garden. The San Antonio Spurs 78, the Knicks 75.
Time for the MCS Cannon quote book. Hey Al, listen to this.
Okay.
Patrick Ewing, big night last night, 29 points, 16 in the 4th quarter. Don Nelson's comments after the game, Patrick just took over. I thought we were in trouble going into the 4th quarter. Didn't think we looked fresh. 4th quarter came and things completely changed. MCS Cannon, let us show you the possibilities.
And this 4th quarter sets up as something that should be a lot of fun to watch. Hubert Davis, you heard the snap of the net. That ties the game at 78. In the 3rd quarter, the Knicks went south, the Spurs north. And as a result, the Spurs were able to erase what was a Knick 10-point lead very late in the 1st half. David Robinson way off on the shot. Mason on the rebound. That is 10 rebounds for Anthony Mason. He's destined for another double-double here tonight at the Garden. Harper and Davis start in the backcourt. Oakley wide open, coming right in. Here's Mason on the look from Grant. Gets his own follow. It goes with the foul. No, they call traveling.
It looks like he twisted his ankle too, Al.
Oh, it looked like it was going to be spectacular. Instead, it's a turnover. Mason trying to walk it off.
Mason underneath. Normally, that's an automatic 2 for him. But as you can see, he went up, felt the Spurs surrounding him, and then came down and hurt himself as he twisted his ankle, but he is shaking it off.
I feel bad. I wasted all that energy. Just under 11 minutes to go. Avery Johnson guarded by Gary Grant. Poked by Harper. Steal. Grant pushes it up. He's got Davis on the wing.
Terrific play by Harper.
No look to Mason. J.R. Reed's on him. And they bang. And they bang. Mason, this time, draws the foul.
There's an example of the willfulness of Mason. He was very unhappy about the last situation down at the other end. And he's now trying to catch up for that hoop he thought he should have had.
Will Perdue has checked in for the San Antonio Spurs. It's bench city for San Antonio, by the way. Chuck Person, Doc Rivers, J.R. Reed, Will Perdue, and the lone starter, Avery Johnson. Mason hits the first. He's got the double-double. That's 6 games in a row now for Anthony Mason. Knicks have the lead back. It's only a deuce, though. Doc Rivers looking for Chuck Person. Harper overplays him. They go over the shoulder. Person can't handle it, but Perdue can. Will Perdue ties the game at 80.
Well, the 2 men with the same birthday are guarding each other, Al. Derek Harper and Doc Rivers.
John, you've been reading much too much of the media guide.
Born on the same day, in the same year.
Mason, the fall away.
Harper's playing 37 minutes a game, and Doc Rivers only 17 though.
Mason on J.R. Reed, blocked by Oakley. Thought long distance, instead hands off. Hubert Davis pulls up the dribble, in on Person with the foul. The Garden erupts. There's a scowl on the face of Hubert Davis that you don't normally see.
Oh, he was dishing out some post-shot enthusiasm there. Great instinct for the basket shown by Hubert Davis. He took a blow, but protected the ball perfectly.
Look at
That's a first.
that's an Oakley or Mason impersonation. Bob Hill makes an immediate response, returning Vinny Del Negro and David Robinson to the game. Meanwhile, Patrick Ewing still getting rested by Don Nelson. So the Knicks will have to reset their defensive assignments. Davis completes the three-point play. He gives the Knicks a three-point lead. 9:40 to go.
Oakley with the big job on David Robinson now.
David Robinson quiets a 10-2 Knick run to make it a one-point game. Gary Grant backing in on Avery Johnson. Oakley screens. Harper fakes Robinson. Grant is wide open.
On that sequence, I got the sense that Robinson wasn't guarding an individual. He was guarding a position on the floor, or commonly known as zone defense.
Robinson spins around Oakley. Little Charles Oakley can do to stop that.
He must get help, though, quickly, to take away a lane.
Mason in on the Admiral. You know he's into this. Oakley almost got to the rebound, but Will Perdue brings it down.
Very ambitious move by Mason, trying to shoot over the 7-foot defensive player who's outstanding in that department, David Robinson.
David Robinson is fouled and will go back to the free throw line. Hubert Davis got a piece of him. John Starks returns, and Gary Grant leads. Gary Grant with a big contribution, 11 points, 3 of 5 from the floor. Spurs will not be shooting. Correct myself on the inbound. Del Negro, now Johnson. Patrick Ewing rises from the Knick bench. He's about to re-enter things. Knicks almost stole it away. Johnson, crossover, curl. Oakley almost stole it again. Del Negro, 3 on the 24. Crazy shot. Oakley and Harper pulls it down. Game's got a good tempo to it now. Harper, Mason, Starks on the drive on Perdue. Wild shot. Oakley saves it, and he's fouled. 2 Spurs go down. Doc Rivers and Will Perdue. Doc Rivers is now discussing things with Anthony Mason. Not happy.
Doc Rivers is a very, very strong competitor, and he will not be intimidated by physical play. Oakley on the ball. Doc attacking Charles Oakley, and then gets shoved out of bounds. And if you're Doc Rivers, you're not too happy about that.
Yeah, and he had the legs taken out from under him because Will Perdue was already laying there.
I suspect if that wasn't Charles Oakley, his former teammate, he would have been right in the guy's face.
What's funny is that Doc went over and complained to Mason. But he's cooled down, and Oakley has tied the game at 84. 7:45 to go. Knicks leading the battle of the boards. It's been a big focus for the Spurs and us watching this game. 37-32. Oakley's second is missed.
Robinson setting the pick, looking for the pick and roll. Knicks played it well.
Johnson down deep, out for Del Negro. 1 on the 24. They're not going to beat it. Well, that shouldn't have counted, but they let it go, and the Knicks have the ball. Harper fouled by Avery Johnson. Knicks will take it in from out of bounds. 7:13 to go. San Antonio calls time. We're all tied up in the fourth. They have not stopped clapping here at the Garden since John Starks hit the three that turned a deficit into the lead. It was Derek Harper first, then John Starks who turned this around here in the last minute.
Derek Harper on the drive. Doc Rivers goes into his fall down act. No foul. Basket Knicks. The Knicks take a lead by one. David Robinson strikes at the other end. The Spurs are up one. John Starks. Good ball movement by the Knicks. John Starks with the three-point shot. The Knicks up by two now.
David Robinson, 37 points. Biggest game against the Knicks this year. Ironically, the other big performance was Clifford Robinson, who had 36 in Portland. David Robinson also has not had a game bigger than this season, tying his season high, 37. Knicks go to what they're known for in this league, their defense, with 1:18 to go. Ewing against Robinson. Ewing playing with 5. Sean Elliott. And there's Mason for a rebound. He had a growl to him.
Boy, Elliott got what he wanted, a wide open jumper.
We come down to the final minute with the Knicks up by 2.
Oh, watch Rivers and Mason now.
The Knicks go to their post-up advantage, and Anthony Mason. Rivers bends the legs. Mason spins and draws the foul. It's an offensive foul. He used the elbow to gain advantage.
The way Rivers ran out of that cluster, you knew he was happy.
I just heard a fan yell to the referee, check the classifieds, man. That's a good line. 45 to go. 15 on the shot clock. Harper guards Johnson. And now they go to Robinson. Harper almost poked it away. 6 on the 24. Avery Johnson gets free. Oakley couldn't stop him. And the game is tied at 100 with 30.6 to go.
Amazing shot by the 5'11" Avery Johnson.
Don Nelson says, get it up the floor and call time, and they do. 24.4 seconds to go here at the Garden.
Well, Al, a 24-second clock can rest right now because that's what we have left in the game, and a tie score. Let's take a look at Mason punishing Doc Rivers. Rivers aggressive. The strength of Mason's left arm. However, Rivers will draw the foul. Watch how he does it. Mason hooks him as he moves around him, holding him back, and that foul went in the favor of Doc Rivers. Avery Johnson, however, stopped cold by Charles Oakley, but up and in for the 5'11" Avery Johnson.
Well, the Knicks have frequently called Derek Harper's number in situations like this. Ewing has missed his last 5 shots. It's Starks, Harper, Ewing, Oakley, Mason.
Knicks have 18 seconds on the shot clock with 24 to go. 24 and 4/10 to be exact. The Knicks have plenty of time for a good shot. They require ball movement now.
Barring a Knick miss and an offensive rebound, the Spurs will get a final shot.
Will Perdue is not the man to stop Ewing. I would think the Knicks want to go to Patrick.
Spurs don't have a foul to give. Starks dribbles and watches the clock. 5 on the 24. Ewing over Will Perdue. Inside for the rebound. Oakley's got it. 6 seconds. Harper for 3. Yes! With 2.2 seconds to go, Oakley got the rebound.
Harper did it in Washington earlier this year to win a game. Game 4 of the Knicks.
103-100 with 2.2 seconds to go.
And I believe, Al, 2.2 was the number when Harper hit that winner in Washington.
John, I think you're right. The Knicks are all looking up on Garden Vision to see the replay. Oh, that was a wild shot. It hit the rim, rolled around, and then slowly dropped. Watch Oakley's work here.
Ewing got the shot. Oakley again strikes.
And John, did you see who he beat for that rebound? He beat David Robinson to that rebound.
Al, I'm reviewing the November 10th game against Washington, and it was precisely 2.2 seconds to go that Derek Harper hit the game-winning three-point shot. A game that the Knicks won by 1 point. Look at Charles Oakley. And that was nothing new, what he did on that offensive rebounding opportunity. He has been doing it all night.
I loved it, John Starks. Knicks are happy, but they've got to stay focused. Even Don Nelson had a big smile. Let's go back and look at that shot November 10th and watch the clock. History repeats. 2.2. Derek Harper, the huge three. He's got 13 points. Charles Oakley only has 33 rebounds in the last 2 games. Just enormous.
Meanwhile, the rifleman Chuck Person has checked into the game. Chuck Person, who, by the way, enjoyed his career high here at Madison Square Garden with 47 points as a member of the Pacers some years back.
Everybody's a weapon out there for San Antonio.
Del Negro, too.
Rivers on the inbound with Person, Robinson, Del Negro, and Elliott. He's having trouble. He's having trouble. Elliott's got it, and the Knicks foul. Brilliantly played by the Knicks. Brilliantly played by the Knicks. They prevent the San Antonio Spurs from taking a three that would have tied the game. And now, if you're Bob Hill, you've got to figure out how you get 3 points out of 2 free throws. 1.2 seconds to go. John Starks committed the definite foul. You flirt with danger when you go for the foul beyond the three-point line, but John Starks fouled Sean Elliott almost at the moment he received the ball. You see Elliott try to get it off, but the foul was called well before that. You also flirt, John, with getting called for a flagrant when you take a guy out like this.
You're right, Al. And had Elliott been in the act of shooting from three-point range and drawn the foul, he would have had an opportunity to take 3 foul shots and tie the game.
So what has Bob Hill come up with? Obviously, you make the first and try to get a rebound on the second for a putback.
That's about it, Al.
That's about it. And that's a tough thing to do.
No time for an exchange of passing the ball back and forth and then shooting it.
What you're asking of your team is that in a season where they have not been rebounding at all, to get this rebound. Of course, if you miss the first, it's all out the window. All right, everybody in the building knows there's going to be a rebound coming if Elliott can make it work.
And should there be to David Robinson, Charles Oakley better not foul him.
Rivers and Person are on the wings. They charge the hoop. Here's the miss. Ewing's got it. 4 seconds to 4 attempts to go. It went! It went! We're going to overtime. A stunner.
The Knicks are unhappy about that clock. You know that. 1.2 seconds to go.
And now Bob Hill's looking for a foul call on the shot, and he's got a point maybe. Knicks have played 1 overtime this year. It was a home loss to Atlanta. This is the first overtime experience of the season for San Antonio. In the 4th quarter, it was extremely tight. 11 ties. And it came down to the final shot for the 11th one. Spurs win the opening tip. Knicks have their starting unit on the floor. The San Antonio Spurs do not. J.R. Reed and Doc Rivers don't start for this team right now, and they're both out there. They go right to Robinson, who's fouled, and it counts. No basket. They're not going to count it.
But the call is on the Knicks big man. As the Spurs did the right thing and went right to David Robinson, who took the ball to Patrick Ewing.
Now, Bob Hill is upset, probably because they didn't get continuation here, but it's a foul on Ewing, who totally backed off.
It looked like there was contact, Al.
With the body.
Yes. And now Don Nelson elects to go small, bringing in Hubert Davis in the game.
It took only 20 seconds for San Antonio to get Patrick Ewing out of this game. J.R. Reed guarded by Oakley. It's Derek Harper on the bigger Sean Elliott. He goes to the fall away. It's an air ball. Saved by Reed. Here's Johnson for Rivers. Harper flies by. Rivers rolls it around. And Starks and Oakley team up for the rebound. Oh, wild sequences here at the conclusion of this one. First Knick possession of the overtime. It goes to Mason. David Robinson has a big-time height advantage on Anthony Mason. He goes fall away.
Well, the one thing Robinson does not do is pursue the man when he's going to the jump shot.
105, 103. Robinson guarded by Mason. Weird shot. Mason had him overplayed perfectly. Chance for Harper out of bounds. Don Nelson with his hands saying, easy, easy. 3:38 to go. Timeout here at the Garden, where the atmosphere is great.
Don Nelson wearing coach's pain, and it hurt when John Starks and Charles Oakley got together a moment ago. John looking to push the ball up court to Derek Harper, who couldn't reach that pass that was out of his reach. So the Knicks, on their way to a 4-point lead, were thwarted in that direction.
Patrick Ewing has fouled out on a 19-point game. Didn't shoot the ball well today. 9 of 27, 7 rebounds. So the Knicks go with Oakley, Mason, Davis, Starks, and Harper. It's Mason's job to guard David Robinson. He did a great job of that last time up the floor. Oh, they're banging and holding and banging, and Robinson is spinning, trying to get position. They call nothing. 5 on the 24, Harper bothered on the shot. Rebound Harper. Here's Starks on the run. Rivers is back. Unbelievable.
Give Rivers credit for hustle. It looked like a sure 2 points for the Knicks.
So Robinson and Mason resume the struggle. So much contact. Robinson up, under, missed it. And the outside official calls the foul. Now that's the 5th personal foul to Anthony Mason. That's the newest Knick problem.
Knicks putting such pressure on David Robinson.
Not in the active shooting, so the Spurs inbound. 2:45 to go here in overtime at the Garden. It started as a pretty ugly game. It's got to be one of the better ones we've seen. Robinson the turnaround. 105, 105.
That's where Mason can't deal with Robinson when he goes to that jumper. He is up so tall.
Harper almost stolen by Robinson. Mason wasn't expecting it. The Knicks go to Davis. He's driving on Doc Rivers, and a foul. 4th foul on Doc Rivers. The Knicks will take it out of bounds.
Boy, Bob Hill really sticking with Doc Rivers here over Del Negro, who is the starting guard.
Mason guarded by the Admiral. Plenty of time on the 24. And they call the foul on David Robinson. That's the 3rd on him.
You know, Mason's doing an imitation, in my mind, of Moses Malone, who used to punish his defender by banging into him. And if the defender does anything, the foul is on him. But Mason's initiating the contact here.
Spurs yelling out for a 3. Mason goes fall away. Well short. Oakley saves it. Punch to Davis. Here's the 3. 1:40 to go.
Oakley's been remarkable on the offensive boards.
Oakley has 19 rebounds, and the San Antonio Spurs call timeout. The final 94 seconds coming up. We are in overtime, and here is the reason why. With 2.2 seconds to go, Sean Elliott calmly hit the first free throw, then definitely missed the second on purpose. Sean Elliott got the ball with 0.4 of a second to go and hit it, and probably was fouled as well. That tied the game. Now, we've checked our memory banks, and this is one of the best examples we have of this ever happening involving the Knicks before. with Rod Strickland definitely wanting to make the free throw with the Knicks down 1. Gerald Wilkins went flying through the lane, tipped it in, and the Knicks went on to beat the Clippers in Los Angeles. And that's what it feels like to steal one on the missed free throw play. So we've got 1:34 to go. The Knicks and Spurs tied at 105. 7 Knicks in double figures, but Patrick Ewing's on the bench. And when you're playing a team that has David Robinson, that's not good.
Al, I couldn't help but think of Reggie Miller also on that Sean Elliott shot. Game 1 of the playoffs last year against Indiana.
Knicks press the inbound. Oh, he just barely got it in. Spurs 1 for 6 in the overtime. Knicks 1 for 4. Nelson thought he had the ball for 5 seconds and that it should have been a turnover. 5 on the 24. Now 3. Avery Johnson stops. Big rebound by Mason. He ripped it right away from J.R. Reed. The Knicks are trying to pull one out when they're shooting 40% for the game, and the Spurs are shooting 50. Here's Mason. This has been the story of the Knicks in overtime. Get it to Mason and let him go against David Robinson. They bang, and a foul. The foul is on Anthony Mason. He is now out of the game. That is a costly post-up.
Well, we certainly saw it coming. The Knicks elected to go with this consistently. Robinson holding his ground. See, Mason's not showing speed. He's just trying to bowl the guy over. There's no deception here. He's just banging into David Robinson.
And now, in the absence of the bulk of Anthony Mason, Chuck Person is sent into the game by Bob Hill, replacing J.R. Reed. Only 4 points have been scored in overtime, 4 minutes of it, 2 by each team. Herb Williams was going to be sent in, but now that Don Nelson sees Chuck Person, he responds with Gary Grant. So the Knicks go to 4 guards to try and pull it out in the last 55 seconds. There's the overtime shooting. Sean Elliott guarded by Oakley now. Oakley overplays, but Robinson's got the ball. Goes into the lane and is fouled hard. And he's laughing, David Robinson. And now the Knicks have 4 fouls on Charles Oakley.
Did you ever see a guy, Al, take such punishment as David Robinson does and not elicit any anger or hostility at his opponent?
Not a shooting foul. Amazing. It's a bit of a break for the Knicks. It's the kind of game maybe Charles Smith could have played a big role. Harper pokes it away, a race for the ball. He comes up with it. Huge steal. Starks. Tipped up by Davis. Starks tries to save it out of bounds. Whose ball?
Starks didn't realize that Hubert touched it last.
Whose ball is it?
And he let it go. It looks like it should be the Spurs ball.
Bob Hill's offering his opinion. Starks can't believe that there wasn't a whistle on his layup. The Spurs are going to go crazy if they call this a jump ball. .4 seconds to go. John Starks off the startling steal of Derek Harper got in great position and missed.
Starks thought the ball was out off the Spurs, and that's why he elected not to go for that ball.
Fans letting the officials know how they feel about them.
None of these officials want this confab to end.
Avery Johnson from the perimeter of this trio talking it over is really letting them have it.
The officials are, I really think they're guessing now.
What's it going to be? Nick Ball. They give it to the Knicks.
Hubert Davis on the tip-in. Both players tipping the ball out of bounds.
Oh
So,
boy.
in effect, the officials can't be wrong.
Oh boy. You know, even if you look at the replay, you may call a jump. We've got a timeout. 4 seconds to go. The Knicks getting the big call that it's their ball, and they get a fresh 24-second clock. The Spurs throughout the timeout were really giving it to the officials. You saw on the replay both Hubert Davis and Sean Elliott went up to the ball.
Al, a key thing here is that the Spurs only have 2 team fouls. The Knicks have 4 in overtime.
Knicks will inbound from the baseline. Harper quick into Oakley, and they'll let it go down. Doc Rivers on Harper. Gary Grant's out there with Hubert Davis, John Starks, and Charles Oakley. 4 guards for the Knicks.
The Knicks shooter better be in the act of shooting now to get the foul.
6 on the 24. Oakley sets the screen. Starks driving on Robinson. Sent to the floor. Davis, and he hits it. No basket. No basket. Starks went to the floor in a crunch. The game clock will have to be reset. The game clock will have to be reset to 1.4 seconds. 24-second clock to the left. No. And I really have to wonder, John, about John Starks driving the lane on David Robinson as an option.
That's the only way he knows how to play, Al. He puts his head down and goes.
24-second violation. The Spurs have 1.4 seconds to make it happen. And the way this has gone for the Spurs, Chuck Person in the first quarter at the buzzer, a hook shot from half court. Avery Johnson underneath with a wild tip in the last second of the second. Sean Elliott off a missed free throw with 0.4 of a second to go in regulation. You got to figure 1.4 is plenty for these guys tonight.
Well, you know, that's how they're approaching it right now, with great confidence. Half hour ago, we thought we'd be on our way home.
1.4 seconds to go. It's San Antonio's ball. What would you say Hubert missed by? 1/10 of a second?
Sounds good, Al.
Here's a play we didn't have a chance to check again because of the sequence of events. Harper with a great steal off of Sean Elliott. Harper thought he was fouled. Davis had a second chance on the tip. And then the controversial out-of-bounds call that favored the Knicks. We still have only had 2 points apiece in the overtime. The Spurs send Chuck Person, David Robinson, Sean Elliott, Doc Rivers, and Vinny Del Negro to the floor. Knicks don't have a foul to give.
And they cannot commit a foul at all. Because you know someone is going to be in the act of shooting here.
Rivers looks inside. Elliott all alone. He blew the layup. How did Sean Elliott get that open? Well, you make one to send it to overtime. You miss one to send it to a second. Oh, the Spurs got a huge break.
Well, all the head doctors are greeting Sean Elliott now. He got them there. This is unbelievable. A wide open layup, and the guy misses it.
Go into the second overtime with Charles Smith, who could be used greatly at this point on the bench in street clothes. Oakley stole the tip.
Charles told us last night in Atlanta he was going to play tonight.
He came out and warmed up in uniform, and then I guess decided it didn't feel good. Well, finally, they set positions, and we'll have the sequel jump. It's won by San Antonio and Chuck Person. 1 for 8 and 1 for 6. Some tough defense played in that overtime. Sean Elliott in for David Robinson. Around Oakley. Missed the layup. Bothered on the follow. The foul is called. Now Charles Oakley has 5 personal fouls. First it was Ewing, then it was Mason, and Robinson goes to the line. From the free throw line today, David Robinson, 11 of 14.
Common numbers for him. He's in double figures, it seems, every game.
Oakley played him so tough on the first shot attempt. But once Robinson got it back for a second in that position. So it's 107-105.
Knicks were going to Mason constantly until he fouled out, so now they're into a whole different offensive scheme.
Starks guarded by the much bigger Chuck Person. He goes to the speed, makes the layup. He blew by Chuck Person. (107-107).
Spurs going once again to David Robinson.
Robertson was stopped. Out for Elliott. Moves on Harper. Stolen. Oakley flips to Davis. Starks is open. This time he makes it. Oh, the defense of the Knicks rising up.
There's something about being in an extreme underdog position, Al, that brings out the best in players and units sometimes.
Chuck Person from way out. Now it's Robinson. Fronts the basket. And that's going to be it for Charles Oakley. The Knicks have now lost their entire front line. 3:36 to go. Anthony Mason, Charles Oakley, Patrick Ewing, all gone. Boy, did Oakley play his heart out tonight at the Garden. Standing ovation for Charles Oakley. And Herb Williams comes in to see if he can contribute.
Well, the sophisticated experts in the stands here recognizing Charles Oakley's play tonight, which was spectacular.
19 points and 19 rebounds worth of spectacular, John. Here's Robinson. 3:25 to go. Doc Rivers wide open. It's a three. Gary Grant way up for the rebound. Starks hanging back again. Pulls it out. It was a tough pass to handle.
Herb Williams not quite ready to be in the game, still tying his pants.
Harper pulls up for a quick one. And the Knicks don't have much in terms of rebounding underneath. 3 minutes to go, Knicks by 2. How much fun has this been? Avery Johnson for Chuck Person, guarded by the smaller Davis. It's Herb Williams out on David Robinson. Steal him! Stole by Grant. He's going to try and do it with the foul! David Robinson threw it right into his hands. Oh, Madison Square Garden is really into this. They've got a chance to go up 5 with 2:40 to go. He is not in the game. He fouled out, but he may still be having an impact. Using the old boxing philosophy of body punches, did all those post-ups on David Robinson tire him out? He's in his 50th minute. He just threw the ball into Gary Grant's hands, and Gary Grant's going to get a chance at a 3-point play.
Gary Grant got more punishment after he made that shot from Starks from behind. Somebody else slapped him in the head enthusiastically. Grant makes some move at the end here to make this shot.
Now these fans, they know their basketball. They know what the Knicks don't have at their disposal here. They don't have Mason. They don't have Oakley. They don't have Ewing. They know they're not supposed to win. That's why it's such a joyous atmosphere right now here at the Garden. Knicks are up 5. A season-high 14-point game for Gary Grant.
Knicks need 1 or 2 denials now, and they'll win this game.
Williams on David Robinson, and he has a chance at a 3-point play of his own. Boy, Gary Grant came flying into the picture when Robinson spun to the basket. Just missed getting a steal.
It's incredible how a guy can get rocked like Robinson does here now and still make the shot. It shows you the strength in this guy's body.
He may be tired, but he's not done. Herb Williams grabs the free throw miss. 112-109, 2:22 to go in the second overtime here at Madison Square Garden. Harper going at Rivers.
Knicks keeping the middle open for penetrating drives.
Starks shoots left and right, goes up. Avery Johnson has the basketball with 2 minutes to go. Avery Johnson in trouble. Elliott for three. Tipped by Davis, out for Elliott. Grant all over Avery Johnson. 1:40 to go. Spurs down 3. Johnson lost it. Starks got the ball and a foul in the backcourt.
Knicks need a hoop so badly now.
Robinson 13 of 17 from the line, 1 for 2 his last trip. He's got a chance to make this a one-point game. 112-110.
Robinson is a very reliable clutch foul shooter.
112-111 with 63 seconds to go. The Knicks with 4 guards and Herb Williams. Harper almost double teamed. Davis goes down the lane. Robinson stops him. In the corner it's Grant. In trouble, letting it go. Robinson gets the rebound. And the Spurs throw it out of bounds. And they look at each other and say, how could that have happened? With 43 seconds to go, they just threw it away. The Knicks get, obviously, a huge break. Harper. 40 seconds to go. Starks. And it looks as though they want to let John go one-on-one on Sean Elliott. 10 on the 24. He goes at Elliott. Spinning to the lane. It's in. Timeout San Antonio with plenty of time left. 24.6 to be exact. John Starks' wild spin move in the lane has given the Knicks a 3-point lead with 24.6 to go, and the Knicks got that possession because of the upcoming San Antonio turnover.
Gary Grant on the shot. Spurs want to run. Robinson on the dish out, and it misses the target. Al, what has characterized this game, as we look at John Starks on a clear out now, he's going baseline. He stopped, but what a finish with a spinning move. What has characterized this game for the fans and for the Knicks is their heart and their competitive spirit. They've reached down and found a dimension they haven't advertised for this long a period of time this season.
There will not be a highlight package on any sports show tonight that will do this game justice. I mean, the big shots at the end of regulation, it's like ancient history. Mason gone, Oakley gone, Ewing gone. Sean Elliott, 20 seconds to go. Nick ball.
You believe that?
No, I do not. The Spurs commit their second outrageous turnover in the last 40 seconds, and now they have to foul Gary Grant to get the ball back.
Well, Bob Hill, fate wanted your team to put forth an incredible, memorable effort, but fate did want your team to win this game. With the last pitch out for Robinson to Avery Johnson, with this turnover by the veteran Sean Elliott, that's unbelievable.
The Knicks played virtually the entire first overtime without Patrick Ewing. Gary Grant.
He's missed a foul shot all year. Gary Grant has been tremendous.
That put the Spurs down by 4 with 18.2 seconds to go. Rattles in the second. Spurs call time. 18.2 to go. The Knicks, without their entire front line, lead at 116-111. We're in the second overtime. Anthony Mason just dancing the timeout away.
He can't contain himself. He's out of the game, but he can't stop moving. And what a cheerleader he's turned out to be.
How do you figure it? Both teams only get 2 points each in the first overtime, but the Knicks getting 11 from Starks and Grant. Here's the first turnover by San Antonio with 43 seconds to go. David Robinson looked like he nonchalanted it a bit. Then Sean Elliott with the dribble. I don't know what he was trying to do. It looked like it was a pass, but it was sloppy. The end result, out of bounds. Nick ball. Grant hits both free throws. And now the Spurs have 18 seconds to create some more magic. Sean Elliott fouled on the shot with 15.4 to go.
Which is an eternity, the way this game has shown itself. Elliott, a reliable foul shooter, can bring the Spurs to within 3 with 15 seconds to go. And that's nothing the way this one has gone.
Elliott 4 for 7 from the line, but of course he had one deliberate miss. That one was not.
How about the layup he missed out, which could have won the game also? Elliott has been up and down and up and down.
And now off the bench for San Antonio, Dell Demps. Out of Pacific a couple of years ago, gets limited playing time. What a tough spot to come off the bench in a second OT. Starks grabs the inbound. Fouled hard by Vinny Del Negro with 11.6 to go. Now it's simple. John Starks just has to hit the free throws. And Herb Williams is doing some high-fiving with the crowd, and he deserves tremendous credit just by changing the tenor of how this game was going. He defended David Robinson and took away the obvious option of setting it up for Robinson every game. And Robinson was killing the Knicks when they posted him up. He's why Oakley fouled out and Ewing fouled out and Mason fouled out. He had a 39-point game.
It's also good that Herb ate the proper things while growing up so he could be 6'11" for tonight, Al, you know?
All the bounces going the Knicks' way. And Robinson had a 39-point game, which has become a 45-point game.
And there was a time in this game that I suggested David was on coast.
He heard you, John. Remember what we said? Starks hits them both. 118-112. Spurs will want to get a shot off as quickly as they can. And now they call a 20-second timeout with 8.8 seconds to go. That's it for them. No more timeouts. And Anthony Mason, I think, just said goodbye to the replacement referees. And boy, Mason is really taking this all in.
He loves everybody tonight.
John Starks and Gary Grant in this second overtime have just been huge. Starks with 6, Grant with 5. The Knicks lead it by 6. Starks now with 25 points, and he hit the boards, grabbing 6. Grant, 16 points, his biggest game as a Knick. Don Nelson is filling John Starks in for the last 8.8. Spurs just want to get it up, as I said, as quickly as possible to create as many opportunities in this 8.8 as they can. Del Negro, quick shovel. Sean Elliott, long 3, way off. Rebound grab by Davis. 4 seconds. 2, 1. The most improbable of Knick victories belongs to the Knicks. The Knicks 118. The San Antonio Spurs 112. They dominate the second overtime with their 4 guards and without Anthony Mason, Charles Oakley, and Patrick Ewing. Leaving Johnny Hoops speechless.
Interesting watching Doc Rivers in a happy greeting of Charles Smith despite the very disappointing loss. A lot of goodwill there.
Oh, the fourth quarter was great from the first second to the last, and then came the overtimes. It is the Knicks 118, the Spurs 112. Our post-game coverage begins in a moment. This is MSG.